fifth grade. Welcome to another great day of learning. My name is Miss Hall and I teach fifth grade reading at William Fox Elementary School. I am so excited you're here today. So today for this lesson, you are going to need your computer or device, whatever you're watching me on. So you already have that. You're going to need a pencil. You're going to need a piece of paper, and then you're going to need a positive attitude. I know we all might be going a little stir crazy at our houses, but we are going to have another great day of learning. So if you are missing any of those things, go ahead and pause your video and go grab them now. All right, so let's get started. So today we're going to be talking some more about theme. Yesterday we talked about the definition of theme, we practiced with a video, and we talked a lot about what that word means. Today we're going to be using a story to figure out the theme. So today's learning intention, so your goals by the end of today's lesson are I can track how a character changes, and I can explain the theme of a story. So you will be able to do those two things by the end of this lesson. So before we get started with our story and reviewing how to find theme, I want to talk about what theme is. So if you look back here at our chart, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the definition of theme. So theme, just a reminder, is the lesson, message, or moral the author wants you to learn. So theme is the lesson, message, or moral the author wants you to learn. So theme is kind of like the heart of the story. And then yesterday we talked about how there are some common thematic topics. And so these are different topics that relate to your theme. So we talked about how if you are giving someone the theme, or if you're telling the theme of a story, it's more than just honesty, or it's more than just equality. You have to expand on that a little bit, but these are some of our common topics. These are not all the topics, there's more than just these, but these are some of your common ones. And then we talked about how there's some questions you can think about when determining the theme. So for example, you can think about what did the characters learn? How did the characters grow or change? Or what ideas stick with you? So those are some questions to think through when you're trying to figure out the theme. I'm going to share my screen with you. All right, so we are on our second day of theme, and today, so we reviewed our key vocabulary, so we already did that. Then in a second, we're going to review how to identify the theme. Then I have a story I'm going to read to you, so we'll practice finding the theme of that story. And then I have a short exit ticket you're going to do at the end of our lesson. So we went through this yesterday, so I'm not going to spend quite as much time on it, but we talked about how finding the theme is simple. So your first step is going to be to summarize the common text. So we talked about how you really have to have a good understanding as to what happened in that story. So your first step is to summarize it. After you summarize, you're also going to think about what did the character learn, how did the characters change, and what ideas stick with you. So that's step one. Your second step is going to be to think about thematic topics. So that was kind of, we have our list of different topics. These aren't all the thematic topics, but they are some of them. So you are going to think about which of those topics relate to your story. Then your third step is going to be to choose one of those topics and expand on it. You can always use the sentence starter, the author believes, and explain that thematic topic. And then your next sentence is going to include your text evidence, so proving your point. All right, so today you are going to need a piece of paper, and you are going to divide up your piece of paper like this. So do you see how there's 4 different lines? I'm going to show you on my piece of paper. So I took a piece of paper, whoops, and I just divided it up like this. So you can fold it if you want, but you need 4 different sections, and you're going to label them 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. You are going to be using this paper to take notes as we read. All right, so once your paper is divided up, in your first box, I'm going to project my screen back. In your first box, so this corner up here, box 1, I want you to tell me about a time that you have felt alone. So if you need a sentence starter for that, you could say, I felt alone, and you're going to write that in a complete sentence. So go ahead and pause your video And write in this first box, you can take up the entire space if you need to. Tell me about a time you felt alone. All right, so now that you have done that, so a lot of us have had times that we have felt alone in our life. Maybe right now, being away from your friends and from your school is a time you feel alone. When I went to college a couple of years ago, when I first went to college, that was a time I felt kind of alone. But we all have had different experiences in our lives where we feel alone. And today we're going to be reading a story called One Green Apple. I love this story. But this is a story about a girl named Farah who moves to the United States, and she does not speak English when she comes to the United States. So she speaks a different language than all of her classmates, and her and her classmates have a hard time understanding each other. But this is kind of her story and about how she ends up feeling included in her class. This is called One Green Apple. I'm going to read you different parts of the story, and throughout the story, we're going to pause, and you're going to have an activity to do on this piece of paper. Okay? All right, let's get started. One Green Apple by Eve Bunting. This is my second day in the new school in the new country. There are no lessons today because we are going somewhere. Other days will not be like this one. Tomorrow I will go again to the class where I will learn to speak English. Mothers drive us to the start of an orchard where a hay wagon is waiting. We climb on and lean against the bundles of hay. The wagon is pulled by a tractor and we jolt along. I think it odd to have boys and girls sit together. It was not like this in my village. Sorry, I know the pictures are kind of blurred. The students know each other, but they don't know me, and I don't know them. I can't understand them when they speak, and I can't speak to them. Some are friendly, but some look at me coldly and smile cruel smiles. I hear my name mentioned, not fondly. I would prefer to go home. My father has explained to me that we are not always liked here. Our home country and our new one have difficulties, he says, but it will be good for us to be here in time. How much time, I wonder? I am different too in other ways. My jeans and t-shirt look like theirs, but my dupatta covers my head and shoulders. I've not seen anyone else here wearing a dupatta, though all the girls and women in my home country do. The girl who sits next to me smiles and points to herself. Anna, she says. She points to me. Farah. I nod and say Farah, which is my name. Then I look across the field where the cows graze. I am tight inside myself. 3 dogs come and run in front of us. I think they belong here and they know the way. I once had a dog called Hattis. We stop at a place where apple trees bunch together. I find out we are to pick the fruit. Old apples have fallen in the grass. The 3 dogs are eating them. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Their crunches sound like Hattis. All right, so we're going to pause here for a second on your chart. So you're going to move into this second box. And I'm going to share my screen with you so I can show you what you are going to write in this second box. All right, so in this second box, your job is to track Farah's emotions. So far, what do you know about Farah? I want you to use this sentence starter. Farah feels blank, and I know this because, so you're going to tell me how you know how Farah feels. So go ahead and pause the video and fill out that sentence. So Farah feels blank, I know this because. All right, so let's get back to our story. So far we know that Farah probably feels kind of alone. We see that she doesn't have a whole lot of friends. We see that she might feel a little bit nervous. So if you have any of those emotions written down, those are good answers to have written down. Our teacher gathers us around. She talks to the class. Then she looks at me in a kind way. One, she says. She touches an apple, then picks it. One, she says again. I am to take only one, as the other students have done. I nod. I want to say, I understand. It's not that I'm stupid. It's just that I'm lost in this new place. But I don't know how to tell her. I pull away from the rest. Beside me is a tree shorter than the others. That does not seem to belong. It is small and alone like me. A few hard green apples hang out from its branches. I twist one off. It fits perfectly into my hand. We hold our apples and run and slide down a hill. The dogs race ahead. Their ears blow backward, inside and outside, pink and shiny. At the bottom of the hill is a little crooked house made of wood. I wonder if a cow lives in it, or a goat. Perhaps it's the home of a shepherd. In the house is a golden wooden machine with a metal handle. I see no cow or goat or shepherd. The house is here for some other reason. Our teacher lines us up. One by one, we plop our apples into the machine. I will be last to drop my small green one. My teacher seems about to speak. Then she shrugs and smiles. A boy shouts, "Hey!" He moves toward me as if to stop me from putting in my little green apple. But he is too late. It is already gone. There are blades inside the machine that chop the apples. Ka-chunk, ka-chunk, ka-chunk. The students begin to push on the handle that presses the chopped up apples. The skin and the pulp stay in the bag while the juice flows through. I hang back, not sure if I should be with the others. Pushing the handle must be hard. Then they lean against it and grunt. I am strong. I can help. I take a step toward them. Anna calls and waves for me to come beside her. A boy makes a place for me on the handle between them. I am pleased. We push and push. It's hard, but we are working together, and we can do it. The juice drips down. Drip, drip, drip. All right, we're going to pause here again. You're going to do the same thing you just did in square 2. So in your third square, you're going to tell me, "Farah feels blank. I know this because," and tell me how you know how she's feeling. So go ahead and pause the video now and fill out this third square. All right, let's keep going. Let's see what happens to Farah. So we know that Farah at this point, she's starting to feel a little bit more included, right? So we can say she might start to feel included. We know she might start to feel happier. And there's lots of ways we can know that, whether it's her teacher letting her put in her apple, or her friend making space for her. There's lots of ways we can show that she's starting to feel more included. Our teacher has brought us paper cups. We line up again and fill them and drink. We lick our lips. I think I taste my special apple. Apple cider, Anna says. That must be what we are drinking. I say the word inside myself where it can't be heard. Apple. The other word is too difficult. Our teacher is speaking. She is holding out a bag for our cups and making signs that we must get ready to leave. Anna sits next to me in the wagon as we ride back. There's a boy on my other side. "Jim," he says, and points at himself. I nod. "Jim," I say silently. Hay tickles my arm and makes Anna sneeze. It smells of dry sunshine. Jim pats his stomach and a belch jumps from his throat. Everyone laughs. I do too. Laughs sound the same as at home. Just the same. So do sneezes and belches and lots of things. It is the words that are strange, but soon I will know their words. I will blend with the others the way my apple blended with the cider. I take a deep breath. "Apple," I say. Anna claps. I smile and smile. It's my first outside myself word. There will be more. All right, that is the end of our story. So what I want you to do now, in your fourth box, you're going to do the same thing you did in box 2 and box 3. You're going to track how Farah is feeling. So you're going to say, "Farah feels blank. I know this because," so how does she feel at the end of our story? Go ahead and pause the video and do that now. All right, I'm going to share my screen with you. Maybe. Okay. All right, so we know that at the end of the story, Bear is probably starting to feel a little bit more comfortable. So we've noticed, so if you're looking at your chart, mine is not filled out, but yours is because you've been doing that while I read the story to you. We know that Farah started feeling very alone and kind of isolated. She starts to feel a little bit more included, and then at the end of the story, she kind of feels like she has friends and is starting to feel more comfortable in her new home. So what we are going to do now, you can flip your paper over and we are going to fill out the same type of chart we did yesterday. So you on the back of your paper are going to divide your paper into 3 columns just like this, just like we did yesterday. And at the top of your paper, you're going to write 1 green apple and underline it because it is a book title. All right, so in your first box, you are going to write a short summary of our story. So I want your summary to be 2 to 3, maybe even 4 sentences because it is a longer story of what happened in our story. So go ahead and pause the video and do that now. All right, so my summary was Farah is a young girl at a new school in a new country and does not speak the same language as her classmates. While on a field trip to the apple orchard, she becomes friends with students and starts to feel included. So just a short summary reminding me of what happened in our story. In this middle box, right, you're going to write some thematic topics. So this is your list of possible topics. You can always include more. These are not the only thematic topics, but I want you to see if you can choose 4 topics that relate to this story. Go ahead and do that now. You can pause the video. All right, so the topics I wrote were inclusion, friendship, equality, love, belonging, and compassion. I think that all of those topics relate back to our story. Now we're going to choose one. The one I chose to the one I chose to write about was friendship. So then you're going to come over here to your third box. If you don't want to write about friendship because you think there's another thing that relates better, that's fine. But you're going to do your sentence of the author believes friendship, and then what does the author believe about friendship? But I'm going to move that while you fill yours out. So the author believes blank. Go ahead and fill that out now. All right, so I wrote, the author believes friendship can be formed in any circumstance. Farah and her classmates have many differences, but they are able to bond at the apple orchard and become friends. So that's going to be kind of explaining my theme. And do you see how I use my text evidence? So we're saying that they're able to bond at the apple orchard. We know that that's an event that occurred there. All right, so the last thing we're going to do today, I have a short multiple choice question that you're going to answer. So I want you in a second to pause this video, read the text here, and choose which of these options you think is the theme. You can just write down the letter somewhere on your paper that you have space. So go ahead and pause the video and do that now. All right, so the correct answer, so we were talking about how Elliot is angry and then he storms off and slams his door, and then not only can he not go to the party, but he's also grounded because he broke something. The answer is, or the theme of this is, anger will get you in more trouble than it's worth. And we know that's the theme because it talks about how at first all he had lost was his birthday party, but now he's also grounded. So it's getting him in more trouble than he would have been originally. All right, so what you're going to do today is a follow-up lesson. If you go back to the RPS page, there's going to be a worksheet that you can complete. You can print it, or there's directions at the top of the paper on how you can make a copy and complete it on your computer. That is all I have for you today. So I'm going to go back over our learning intentions today where I can track how a character changes. So check, we did that. We checked how Farah changed throughout the story. And then the second thing was I can explain the theme of a story, and we did. We explained the theme of 1 green apple. So that is all I have for you today. I will see you all tomorrow.